The site there is triangular, and with West Residences, it lent itself. I've only been to New York once, but the standout is really this urban renewal that a city like that has. When it's been there a few centuries and you've got an evolutionary process whereby you're using areas that were gritty and are now evolving and being gentrified. And that part of Mount Lawley is our own version of, say, the meatpacking district or something like that. You know, it's 2.6 kilometres from the city. You juxtapose an interesting topography around the streets, which are lined with beautiful trees. There's beautiful parklands nearby, yet you've got the railway, then you've got the river, and it's a point of arrival for Perth, it's a point of departure. And so that site, its nature is triangular. Of course, the most iconic building in the world on a triangular block is New York's Flatiron building. So, you know, my first thought was, gee, how do we reimagine that for Perth right now? Beyond the obvious fact that you've got this three-sided building, and it's like a flying V, electric guitar from the sky. You know, it's just, it's exciting, and I think you see the passion in those buildings. You've got this finely articulated ironwork on the cornered elements of the building, which are creating a private area for outdoor living. And by the nature of the building being largely three-sided, your distance from your next neighbour when you're outdoors is enormous. And normally a building might stack up and down, and you're right next door to your neighbour and so on, where there's a privacy about them, which is gorgeous. I'm most proud of the fact that the aspects you're going to get from the building are quite incredible. I mean, 8 levels in an area like Mount Lawley is unique, and it makes complete sense because you're on a great urban transport corridor. You've got fabulous access to all of the amenity that this area is known for. We've got, you know, from obviously the river that I've cited to the restaurants and bars and retail along Beaufort Street to places of faith or places of education or places of sport. So and then of course the city or wherever you might go. And I think that there's paths and cycleways. So this connection the place has is fabulous. And I think the designers riffed off that also, because from one side of this building you can see the city, another you can see the hills, you can see the river, you can see the district of Mount Lawley. And so yeah, I think there's these unique elements that have come together. At the bottom of the building, it's going to be anchored by another Willing coffee shop, and I'm really proud of those. You know, I think that ultimately what we're about is you know, creating places that people can connect with one another, and you know, beyond any building, it's really the people that make the places, and I think that's what I'm most interested in. We want a generosity of spirit around our floor plans, and I think that, but then, you know, similarly, it's got to be juxtaposed with the importance of space considerations around how do you store things, how you might live. Everything we sort of choose, A, for function, but B, for the design, and then equally that it can be maintained, and that there is not an or similar. We define every item we're putting into our apartments and into the homes that we're creating, so that there's always a degree of personalisation that we want to offer, and whether that's down to simply a colour scheme. I mean, we're using the best interior designers possible, so you would hope that you've got gorgeous schemes that on one realm challenge, but then on another are calming if that's your preferred. And I think every detail that we put in has evolved, but there's some anchoring ground points, and that is, you know, for example, the ceilings are always at minimum 2.7. The floors can be sanded if they're timber and refinished as required, that there's not an impermanence to anything.